For most people, Easter is a time for friends, families and togetherness. For me, the crack between seasons has always been a time to head into the unknown. This year, I headed to New Zealand's Southland, the wettest place on Earth. With rainfall over 6,000 millimetres per year and the fusion of environments from alpine to coastal, there's a real possibility of facing everything Mother Nature can throw at you. I love New Zealand's South Island. Because of its remoteness, it was one of the last lands to be settled by humans. During its long period of isolation, New Zealand has developed a distinct biodiversity of animal, fungal and plant life, making it one of the most unique countries in the world. I'm currently planning a trip to hunt red deer in Fjordland National Park, in a location that is 70 kilometres from the nearest road. After flying in, I will have to survive on what I can carry for a period of 9 days, and so the detailed trip planning is very important. Planning needs to consider clothes, shelter, food, navigation, emergencies, the topography of the environment, and a range of contingencies around things that may go wrong. Red deer is an introduced species to New Zealand, and until recently it was believed that the red deer was the ancestor of all deer, and this includes the slightly larger American elk. This was only recently found incorrect, and scientists now believe that the ancestor of both the red deer and the American elk is surprisingly an Asian deer species that resembles the sika. The red deer is a highly intelligent animal that is as spectacular in life as it is on the dinner plate. Surprisingly, and unlike other deer species, the red deer actually doesn't have a gamey taste. It's important to realise when planning an adventure like this that fitness is a commodity which you trade for your experience and perhaps even your own survival. I believe in cross-training for functional fitness, but despite my efforts for this trip, the trip would eventually test me to my limit. Whilst fitness can be hard work, I believe that it's also very important to try and make it fun. So I've just arrived at Sydney Airport and just getting organised just before I head off to the terminal, because nothing ever bad's happened from taking me a firearm into an airport, putting my names on my bags and bits and pieces before we go. So I wish myself the best of luck and come along for the journey. So that's it, we're through customs now, and I've got to say it was actually a very simple experience. The border force people in Australia were fantastic, and I've had different experiences before. Sometimes it's challenging trying to get a firearm through. Good.
Are you filming backwards?
No, I'm just filming myself. Yeah, I'm not filming that way though. No. Is that right? Thank you. So I'm here now at Tiana, just on the shores of Lake Tiana. It's a lovely place to stop. I'm just stopping and having a few minutes rest. Very, very tired. It's been a couple of really big days, lots of travel, and the trip from Queenstown's taken about 2.5 hours, and I think the time change and everything is really starting to catch up. From here we're to the airstrip where we're going to fly from. It's a 15-minute flight, I'm actually quite nervous at the moment, or getting quite nervous, because I get pretty seriously motion sick a lot of the time. It's a little flight, it's going to be bumpy, the weather is supposed to be rolling as well, so I've got fingers crossed. I've got a routine that I go through to try and control the reaction that I have to motion sickness, but we're just going to have to play that by ear. Hopefully it's a nice calm flight and there's a lot to look at along the way. The first morning of the trip was a mad rush to get from Queenstown to Tianu, where I had to pick up the pilot and ferry him to the Holliford track, where the aircraft had been ferried nearly a week before. It was a crazy morning, and the rush was caused by the fact the weather was rolling in, and we had to get in the aircraft and get in the air so that we could land at Martins Bay before the bad weather hit. You can see this runway goes around the corner. Well, here we are. Sean's just left in the aircraft. There's something very isolating about the airplane flying off like that. It's a wonderful feeling, but it's also, I guess, isolating. It's recognition that you're here. And look, a trip like this doesn't just come together overnight. So it's about 6 months in the planning for me to get here, and so it's just me, myself, and I. Why people hunt, I think, is for that pure experience of themselves. And to hunt properly, you need that pure experience of yourself. So the hunting is a catalyst for that pure experience, and that's why I hunt. And it's taken me many years to learn that, or work that out. But I also think it applies to a lot of other people that may not put it in those terms. My original plan was to head to Martins Bay for a night, and then the next day head out to Big Bay, where I would establish my permanent camp. Unfortunately, my research hadn't uncovered that there's 2 tracks from Martins Bay to Big Bay, called the Low Road and the High Road. The Low Road is about an 8-kilometre scramble across wet boulders, only available at low tide. This 8-kilometre scramble, carrying all of my equipment and a rifle in 80km/h winds, turned out to be too dangerous to continue. As a result, I decided to go back and take the High Road. It wasn't until after the trip I realised that nobody takes that anymore. And so after 5 kilometres of thrashing through some of the thickest jungle that I have ever experienced, I came face to face with my own physical limit. I'm just stopping there to have a bit of a rest. It's been very, very, very hard going. I've done some of the hardest walks in Australia. This is kind of flogging the pants off them. Really mentioned the foliage issue. They did say it would take 4 to 5 hours, which, the current rate of progress, I'm probably on track for that to take 6 or 7 hours. So I don't really want to burn the whole day just getting to Big Bay. So there's some good hunting that can be done a bit further south. I'm going to sit here and have a think for a while. About which direction I'm actually headed in, because I'm getting to the point of fatigue. All this bloody, whatever in Australia we call this cutty grass, and if you have a close look, the edges are all serrated. What I'm finding is, because there's so much of this and it's actually over your head level, as you're pushing your head down to push through it, this grass is, there's running sort of over the top of my ears, and I've got on the top of both ears. There's cuts there now. Anyway, onward. After spending some time to reflect on what not being able to reach Big Bay meant for my trip, I decided after a detailed review of my maps that I would head about 20 kilometres south to the Hokura Valley for some reconnaissance and hopefully good hunting. The light was fading quickly due to heavy weather rolling in. After a look around Martins Bay for the afternoon, I retired to my camp to shelter from the incoming weather. The weather turned into something violent with 150 km/h winds and torrential rain that lasted until mid the next day. After waiting it out, I marched the 20 kilometres to the Hokura Valley. This was a beautiful walk. The best part was travelling alongside the pristine Lake Makero. Walking after so much torrential weather made the trip quite a challenge, with most of the track covered in water and navigation was difficult. Stopping for any purpose was an invitation to be feasted on by the millions of sandflies that inhabit that area. The last few kilometres to the Hokura hut are the beginning of the Devil's Trail, so called because of the twisting and turning and the fact that the tree roots which dominate the path are hectic on your back, legs and ankles. Surviving this, I was happy to arrive at the Hokura hut, where I met 2 UK backpackers who had bunkered in for the night and had actually ran out of food 2 days before. Being a little worried about their food supply and the further 2-day wait before the return of the aircraft, I was happy to accept the mission to provide venison to my newfound friends Nat and Jelly.
So it's Thursday morning. It's my last day for hunting, and basically this week since I've been here, I've walked about 70 kilometres. All of that's been carrying a pack that weighs around about 26 kilos. And as of about midday yesterday, my body was kind of telling me time to stop that. And being the last day, I want to give myself every advantage that I can to actually bag a deer. And so I've decided to lighten the load dramatically, so I'm not carrying my backpack. I've basically folded my weatherproof jacket into a bum bag of sorts, removed everything that's not bare essentials. So the biggest problem I have with that is my binoculars. I've decided to leave them out too. They weigh 1 kilogram. I'm compensating for that with my rifle scope. I know that generally speaking that's not ideal, and you know the rifle scope's got a much lower field of view than the binoculars, but my experience here is that the bush is so thick, and the distances you can see are so narrow in comparison to other places that I've hunted, that the field of view is not going to be a problem, because you're not looking, you know, across distance like this. You're looking through narrow windows of foliage most of the time. I spent most of the week in reconnaissance, trying to get the big bay and then couldn't, and then a couple of days in reconnaissance, so I'm pretty sure I know where the deer will be. I want to stay in the foliage, not get out in the open areas, because that's how I'm going to spook deer, by getting out in the open areas. So anyway, I'm going to carry on, just having the rest of breakfast and a drink, about a 2 kilometre hike to get to where I want to be. So I've come to the area where I think I'm going to find the deer, and I sat here for about an hour scoping out. What's in front of me is quite an open area. Why these are good to look at as deer, they like to come out just onto the edge of open areas, because it's where there's more sunlight, it's where there's more green pick. They'll tend to be on the lee side as well, so the wind is blowing into my face at the moment, which means they're going to be on the lee side, which is the far side of this clearing. It gives me a good opportunity to have a very detailed look along the edge of that clearing and move slowly in that general direction without having to cross too much of the open space. Now, I'm just going to keep scoping out this area, and I might move to a few different positions and hopefully we'll pick something up. Saw a lot of tracks, a lot of sign through this area, very fresh, as late as yesterday morning when I came through here. Apart from just the general lay of the land, the general shape of the clearing and the trees and the mountains, etc. So I've been here for about an hour and a half, just glassing further up the valley. I've just noticed two white stag come onto the edge of the clearing. From where I look, there's trees on one side, there's trees on the other side. And he's doing something a little bit strange. It looks like he's crossing through the middle of the tundra from one to the other. He's moving slowly, but I'm about to get a chance to take a shot. So my laser and my scope is saying he's 303 metres away. Good thing about 303 metres is that he shouldn't be able to smell how bad I smell. I think that was a very good shot. This is really hard country to find your game in once it's gone down, so I'm just going to mark my position where I am. I know he's exactly 303 metres that way. I keep saying yards, but this scope is measuring in metres. Mark that. So what I'm also going to do is take a bearing. So if I just keep on a bearing of 104 degrees in that direction, use my GPS to make sure I'm 303 metres from this spot, should be able to find this deer. I think it's really important to go through this process if you're an ethical hunter, to make sure that you can, if you're down an animal, make sure you know where it went down. Because even if it went down and you didn't see it get up and run off, which I don't think's happened in this case, that'll get you very close to the start of the blood trail, so you'll be on the blood trail quicker. You'll be, be able to find your animal quicker. If that is what it looks like from here, that's one shot, baby. And all that way, and all that effort for one of these, that's what pure hunting is. That's what pure hunting's about. Well, here he is. Like I showed you, he's in the middle of a bit of a wasteland, really. There's really not much here, and it all looks very much the same. So just a quick look at the bullet hole. This is the entrance hole. In terms of placement, you can see the shot placement here is kind of ideal. It's just behind the point of the shoulder, which is what we talk about in terms of ideal shot placement for basically an ethical shot. So another sign that you've made an ethical shot is the blood pool or the blood trail on the ground. If you have a look at this blood trail, this is where the deer stood when he was shot. The really thick, congealed blood, that's the oxygenated blood, so it's coming either out of the, essentially out of the heart, and because it's not frothy, it hasn't come out of the lungs either. So that's heart blood, or aortic blood, and that's a really good sign in terms of if you've shot an animal and you can't find it because you know it won't be far away, demonstrated in this case by the animal being less than a metre from where he was shot. Say good day, Jelly.
Hiya.
Jelly's an artist from the UK. Very excited to have some venison tonight because she's hungry. Ran out of food, and this is Nat also. so eagerly stocking the fire so we can fry it up, eh?
I don't know. I'm working towards like a kind of a jungle expedition actually.
Yeah.
Of jungles of Brazil, New Zealand, Morning and everything. And so, I don't know what to call it.
Yeah?
I don't think this one looks particularly like New Zealand though.
Thanks very much.
That's amazing.
Good?
Steak.
Quite mixed feelings leaving here. First is obviously a little bit sad. Have definitely enjoyed coming here. It's a beautiful, magical, wonderful place. The experience is certainly going to be difficult to parallel, I think, anywhere else in the world. It's just the pure cleanliness of the forest and just the pure, pure environment of it all. Being allowed to hunt and hunt purely in that is really the experience that I was looking for. But it's also going to be relieving to leave because it's a hard place. It's a very hard place.